Good evening, good folks, and welcome to the City of Muskegon City Commission General Session for this Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. Before we get on with order of business this evening, we're going to, well, first of all, I want to remind folks that we do have a couple of public comment periods. One public comment period is towards the beginning of the meeting, that's on any agenda items, and then there's another public comment period at the end of the meeting on either public comment. We encourage you to complete a public comment form at the back of the room and submit it to our clerk. You'll be called up and have up to 3 minutes to provide remarks. Note that we're asking you to provide your home address for our records on the form, but I will not be asking you to share your home address publicly, nor will I be announcing it publicly either. There will also be an opportunity for people to phone in their public comment. They also have up to 3 minutes to provide remarks. That phone number will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen, so keep an eye out for that and your time to call in. And before we get on with roll call and the rest of tonight's business, we're going to be led by prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Prayer is being led by Pastor Adam Dollar of Evanston Avenue Baptist Church. If you wish to join us in either prayer or the Pledge of Allegiance, I ask that you stand up if you're so able to do so.
Thank you for having me. Let's pray. Father, Son, and Spirit, Lord, we just come to you right now this evening in gratitude. Just thank you for this day. Thankful for just the beautiful weather outside, the snow, and just the beauty that we have in that. And Lord, as we come to you this evening for this work in the city, God, I'm just reminded and thinking all day of just your heart of compassion and grace, of steadfast love and faithfulness, being slow to anger and abounding in all those things, God. And I just pray that those are markers of this meeting tonight, that people would embody those characteristics in that heart and just pursuit of the work that's being done here today and for the future of this city. And I just think of the mission of our church in this city, in Muskegon as it is in heaven. And so, Lord, would you do that work? Would your Spirit come and give wisdom and guidance and direction for these people here today? We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Emery?
Here.
Commissioner St. Clair?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Hood?
Here.
Commissioner Ramsey? Absent. Vice Mayor German?
Here.
Commissioner Gorman?
Here.
Thank you. Well, first up, we have some honors, and we're honored by the presence of our esteemed state representative for the 87th District, Will Snyder, who's here to honor a few of our members this commission. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. It's great to be here this evening, and it's great to honor our outgoing public servants for their time that they've served on the commission here, in Commissioner Emery, Commissioner Ramsey for the last 4 years, and Commissioner Hood for the last dozen years now. And thank you, from me and on behalf of the state of Michigan for your service. We do have 3 tributes here, and I will kind of summarize and read briefly from one of them here. But let it be known that it is with a strong sense of admiration for all of the sacrifices that these commissioners have made on behalf of the people of Muskegon that we salute them. Their time as commissioner marked an era of effectiveness and efficiency in public service. We thank these individuals on the occasion with confidence that Muskegon will long benefit. The city has seen tremendous improvement over the past few years, even in the midst of the global coronavirus pandemic, partly and due to their steadfast governance. There is no doubt that the excellent position of the city finances, infrastructure, and residents' quality of life is exponentially better due to their involvement and volunteerism in our community. Since these commissioners began their responsibilities as a commissioner, the people of Muskegon have appreciated the dedication and belief in this community's future that have marked all elements of their work. At a time in our history in which local elected officials face many challenges and changes, these commissioners have responded with energy and a heartfelt concern for the citizens, businesses, and institutions of our hometown. They have spent years fighting for the citizens of this West Michigan community. We thank them dearly for their commitment to holding office. They will be greatly missed and have faithfully served the residents of our community with professionalism and dedication. In special tribute, therefore, these documents are signed and dedicated to honor and thank Commissioner Emery, Commissioner Ramsey, and Commissioner Hood for their tireless efforts and work as a commissioner. Let health and happiness be in their future. And they're signed by myself, Representative Will Snyder, Senator John Bumstead, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, and Governor Gretchen Whitmer. So with that, I do have some tributes to present to you. Start with Commissioner Emery. Actually, thank you so much. And my commissioner, might I add. Commissioner Hood. We'll make sure we get Commissioner Ramsey his as well. But thank you for allowing me to say a few words, and once again, thank you for all that you've done for our hometown, and we greatly appreciate your sacrifices and service, and sometimes what is a thankless job. So appreciate your commitment to Greater Muskegon. And I know that both of you will continue that commitment as your time in elected office comes to an end. And you're not done yet. You know, you got another meeting next month, but I couldn't be here. So I appreciate taking the time to do it tonight. So thank you.
Here, here. Thank you for being here this evening and celebrating and honoring the excellent work of our fellow commissioners. And thank you for all the hard work that you've been doing in Lansing. It's been a busy, busy, productive, positive year, though. And thank you. And we're going to be having, so please make sure you're here at the December 12th meeting for the general session, because we're going to be having some refreshments and celebrations and appreciation for our commissioners who will not be with us next year. But they'll certainly be working alongside us in our community for a better Muskegon, whether they have a title or otherwise. I'm confident of that. Yep. We'll have to make sure Commissioner Ramsey's here December 12th.
Yes.
He will be. All right. Moving on to public comment on any agenda items. I do have one public comment form, but this is on general topics. So that'll be at the end of the meeting. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on an agenda item? We do have phone-in opportunity for folks to speak on an agenda item, and that phone number is 231-724-6721. Again, that's 231-724-6721. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Any phone-in comments?
No, Mayor.
No? All right. Commissioners, moving on to the consent agenda. Note that item 7D has been moved to new business. That's meant for discussion only, not for action this evening. So 7D has been moved to new business. With the remaining consent agenda that is presented, are there any items that you wish to have removed for separate discussion, deliberation, and vote? Commissioner St. Clair.
Item 7C and 7J.
Any other items, commissioners? Nope. Then I entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented, minus items 7C and 7J, knowing that 7D has been moved to new business for discussion.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner St. Clair, supported by Commissioner Hood. Roll call, please.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 7C, Commissioner St. Clair.
I move that the city of Muskegon remain a part of class action lawsuits against 3M and DuPont.
Support.
All right, a motion by Commissioner St. Clair, supported by Commissioner Hood. Mr. Manager, would you like to speak
Sure.
on this item?
So this, kind of like the opioid settlements, this is a class action lawsuit regarding PFAS. It is a recommendation of council that we remain in this class action lawsuit. We're also in a little bit of a unique situation because we're a distribution, we sell wholesale to other communities as well. So we're going to have to work through that part also. But this will allow us to receive funds from the class action settlement that we probably wouldn't be a part of otherwise going against these large companies. So I don't know if council has any more comments or.
No, it makes most sense economically to join the class, stay in the class. Don't go and try and litigate this on ourselves, by ourselves.
And I do want to note that our water source is Lake Michigan. We're well below the detectable levels of where the EPA and the state are at this point in time. Now, if they were to eliminate and say no, then depending on things that from time to time that could come up as an issue. But as far as the action level now, which I believe is 4 parts per trillion, we're well below 1, so we should be good on that regard. But so I just want to make sure that folks are aware of that as far as that goes. We're lucky in that regard.
Okay. So this is just keeping us in as part of the class action lawsuit, not doing it on our own. And then, do we have any outlook on terms of resolution,
No,
settlement,
no.
anything like that?
No.
That could be a pretty drawn out affair. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely TBD.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? Okay. So when we do get the funds, though, that will be determined by the commission how to use the funds at that time, depending on how much is received.
So my understanding right now is there's no restrictions on how we use the funds. So yeah, it would come back to commission for discussion on what those funds would be used for. I would put the caveat there that depending on how the funds are distributed regarding for our wholesale customers and for our domestic system, there could be 2 pots of money, for lack of a better term, that would have to be looked at. They might, the distribution one might have a little bit more. It's really
Consultation from.
Yeah, well, there'll definitely be consultation from our customer communities, but also might have more parameters on how it can be spent.
Gotcha.
That's what I was looking for. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Including potential expenses
So
What do you mean by
that the
potential?
water supply may have.
Oh, to cover that, just
cover
for the
those
production
expenses.
of the water itself.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, good to know. Obviously, we want to make sure that our water supply is safe and secure for our residents and all users of that system. Whenever we receive the money, and hopefully we get a decent amount of money, I'm also interested in the potential applications for this money for monitoring and vigilance against PFAS contamination throughout our city. As we were recently just discussing last week, there's concern about PFAS contamination in groundwaters in various areas of our city. So it would be interesting to see how we might apply these funds for monitoring and mitigation of that itself. So, all right. That's all TBD, though, in terms of resolution and funding. So, thank you. Unless there's anything else, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 7J, Commissioner St. Clair.
Motion to approve the exchange of 159 Amity Avenue, 158 Allen Avenue, 923 J Street, 974 Spring Street for 970 J Street, 974 J Street, 200 East Apple, 212 East Apple, and 218 East Apple as presented, pending a third-party appraisal of all sites and completed title work prior to closing, and to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign. Support.
All right, motion by Commissioner St. Clair, supported by Commissioner Emery. Welcome, Development Services Director Jake Ekholm.
Good evening, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. So you'd like to report out on this item for us?
Yeah, first of all, I made the motion really long, hoping you'd just keep it on consent. So
I know, that was
admire your vigor in reading that motion. No, so effectively, we found while researching, the title company found while starting some work on property transactions for our various LIHTC developments that we have proposed with private landowners, except with the exception of Rebel School. They were working through the lots associated with the developments for Spire. You'll recall Amity Commons and Allen Crossing, the both workforce and senior LIHTCs proposed by Spire Development for this coming December 1st MSHDA deadline. They found out that there were a few city-owned parcels involved in the land owned by Grace Community LLC, which is originally acquired all these parcels over time with the intention of building like an office park type professional center. Obviously with COVID, office is no longer a safe investment, and so they abandoned those plans and decided to look at affordable housing as an option for those lots. A few of those lots were owned by the city initially, and in mid-2019 the city sold those lots to Grace Community LLC for around $11,500 with that intention. So the reverter states that if the office and retail park is not built within 2 years, so by the end of June 2022, that those deeds reverted back to the city. And so as a result, the lots where we've already approved these LIHTC agreements and site plans and municipal services agreements for Spire, a few of those lots technically were not available for Grace Community to actually convey to them. And so we started quickly, we found this out very late in the process, trying to find some solutions. And so working with, Grace Community LLC and their parent company, Wheelfish Group, we came up with an idea for the city to effectively exchange these lots for some other lots that would be great for our infill housing program or other uses. They're contiguous to one that we would allow to revert from this list, and basically make a trade property for property pending an appraisal. And then we worked into the agreement that you have in front of you tonight, basically that they have to come back pretty even on value, and if there's more than a $10,000 difference, then the city would be owed the difference over that $10,000 to make sure that we're getting fair consideration for property. So effectively what this would allow us to do, it was we already thought these were owned by Grace Community LLC. The employee that handled the agenda item in 2019 is no longer with us, and so we didn't understand that these had reverted. And because of that, that jeopardizes 2 of our 5 LIHTC submissions for December 1st. And so what we advocate here is we actually gain additional lots for the city to conduct some potential infill housing or to conduct a request for proposals for private sector development on Apple Avenue. And then we still preserve what we thought was already the third party's property so that we can have those LIHTC agreements in place by December 1st.
Thank you. That is very clear. So this will allow those developments that we're looking at to continue to proceed, and it also provides us with an opportunity to do some of our own infill housing. And neither of those things are going to happen if we don't do this exchange.
Yes, this would jeopardize the LIHTC application for Spire, because technically they wouldn't have site control, which is a condition of the application to MSHDA. So if Grace Community LLC does not have ownership of these lots, the other option we quickly considered is, okay, technically these lots have reverted. We could come up with a purchase agreement really quickly and get that on this agenda. Unfortunately, we would technically have to record a deed first to re-record those in the city's name and then draft the purchase agreement. And this is just a much easier way to go. And then we also receive additional properties that we feel are marketable and healthy for the city to have under public control. So this proved to be a better option from staff's perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner St. Clair. Any other questions or comments on this item this evening? Nope. All right. Thank you, Director Ekholm.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood.
Yes.
Thank you. Next up, no public hearings, no unfinished business, new business, precinct consolidation and changes coming from our city clerk's department. And so that we may proceed with discussion and deliberation and ultimately a vote, I'd entertain a motion. It's also a lengthy one.
I can do that.
All right, have at it, Commissioner Emery.
I move to recommend the Election Commission to combine Precinct 1 and MCC and Precinct 2 Bethsaida Church.
Bethesda.
Okay, that. And move to Central Assembly of God, combine Precincts 3 Central Assembly of God and 4 a Central Assembly of God. Move voters that reside in the following boundaries of Precinct 6, City Hall, from Wood Street, Apple, Forest, Getty, Evanston, McLaughlin, and Chestnut, approximately 361 voters, to Precinct 5, Smith's Ryerson. Combined Precinct 6, City Hall, and Precinct 7, City Hall. Combined Precincts 11, Celebration Community Church, and Precinct 12, McGrath Park, moved to Celebration Community Church. Combine Precincts 13, Lakeside Baptist Church, and 14, Great Lakes Museum, and moved to Great Lakes Museum.
You got a support?
I'll
Support.
support. Oh.
All right. We got a motion by Commissioner Emery, supported by Commissioner St. Clair. I will forego with reading the entirety of that again. Madam Clerk, would you mind reporting out on this this matter for us?
I felt like Commissioner Emery said it all, so. Yes. So just very recently, the legislature has changed the law on the precinct sizes from 2,999 registered voters to 4,999 registered voters. When you combine that with 9 days of early voting, that just happened, that's gonna start in February. So now we are gonna have 9 days that people will be able to go to the Marquette campus of the county building. And we are also opening up 9 days of early voting here at City Hall. And we have where voters are going to be able, they can now get an absentee ballot, but you can also choose to get an absentee ballot without even filling out an application anymore. So there's a process now where we just mail you a ballot. So they've made it very, very easy. And then of course in the city of Muskegon, we even have the election trailer. So elections have changed quite a bit just in the last year. So many opportunities. So with all those opportunities, we also have the opportunity now to condense our precincts, and you know, essentially, more people are going to take these opportunities, and as we do that, we can condense these, and really make it easier. We're going to be able to get, you know, our workers, or we're going to have, you know, the prime workers. We're going to be able to.
And could you use your mic? I just got a text that they can't hear you on the
Uh-oh,
Facebook feed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nobody ever tells me I'm too quiet, ever. So apologize for that.
I apologize.
So when we started breaking this down, we realized how many people are voting absentee and how small our precincts really are. Let me get out my numbers here. So by breaking it down and consolidating some of these, we can take, what we're suggesting is taking Muskegon Community College and taking Bethesda. By combining them, it comes out to 2,928 registered voters. And out of those 2,928 voters in the 2022 election, 541 of them had voted by absentee. And then when we look at precincts 3 and 4, which, by the way, in odd years, we were already able to combine them, and we do already, it's 3,032 voters that we combine. And they have, out of those 3,032, 550 of them vote by absentee. Precinct 5, which is Smith Ryerson, we actually want to move 257 voters into that area. That's what we have planned to do. Sorry about that. And actually grow that one a little bit and take those 257, we're going to take those from City Hall, because City Hall then would have 3,620 voters here by combining precincts 6 and 7, which are already at City Hall, and we do already put those together in odd years. And 767 of those people already vote by absentee ballots, at least they did in 2022. Precinct 8 and 9 and 10, we're not going to do anything with at this time. And then precincts 11 and 12. So precinct 11 would be McGrath Park, or I'm sorry, that would be
Campbell.
the
Community Church.
yeah, thank you. It's going to be Celebration Community Church and McGrath Park. We are suggesting that we combine those two together. They are 3,276 voters. In 2022, 910 of those voters voted by absentee. And then precincts 13 and 14, which are Lakeside Baptist Church and Great Lakes Naval Museum. Together combined, 2,571 voters, and out of those, 980 of those had voted absentee. For precinct 11 and 12, we would suggest that Celebration Community Church would be the precinct because it is so large inside and there's a lot of room. It's much bigger than McGrath Park. If you have 10 people waiting in line, people are going to be waiting outside. As much as I like the building, it's just a fact that they're going to be waiting outside. At precinct 13 and 14, as hospitable as Lakeside Baptist Church has really been to us, it is in the basement. They do have an elevator, but it is a very small elevator. It doesn't have air conditioning, where Great Lakes Museum does have a larger elevator, does have air conditioning, and you know, is a nicer facility, honestly, than Lakeside Baptist. By doing this, we would eliminate 5 precincts. Each precinct would have a savings of approximately $2,000 each precinct, saving the city approximately $10,000 per election.
Sometimes we have 3 elections in a year.
Yes.
So that's $30,000 a year savings.
We have
All right.
been pretty much having 3 elections a year for the last several years. Mm-hmm. So about $30,000 savings a year. Yes.
And that doesn't even count the savings of staff's administrative time to identify the people to work the polls, and trainings and
Correct.
getting the equipment where they need to be.
Correct.
And then when you do need to buy new equipment, there'll be cost savings there as well. You won't need as much equipment.
Correct. That'll be a larger cost savings, and maintenance too. We didn't even talk about the savings and maintenance on the equipment too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Commissioners, any questions or comments on what's being proposed? Yes, Mr.
I just want
Manager.
to make one comment. So Ann found out about these changes, as clerks around the state did, on a Friday. And so she spent that weekend before Thanksgiving and then the Monday and Tuesday before Thanksgiving working to get this done so we could get it on the agenda, so that it would be in place for the primary in 24. So great work. I just want to make sure that she gets acknowledged for that because it was a lot of work to get all this done in that amount of time. So
Here, here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Jones.
Okay, Madam Clerk, did I hear you say elimination of 5 precincts?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so and the map will reflect that.
Yes.
Okay, so a total of what, 10?
We would be at 9.
Oh, 9. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. And for the areas that are going to be seeing accommodations, we're going to be stepping up our efforts with the trailers to the
Yes.
election trailer to be present and available.
Yes.
And we'll continue to assess the situation and see how we might need to adapt, whether that's in terms of how we use that trailer, or maybe even working with partners on driving people to the polls. The only area that I maybe see, and this is probably not so much for concern, but could be for people that don't have vehicles or that are west of Barclay, just because there's no bus service presently, that some attention or care might need to be given to that, depending on the situation. But as has been noted, absentee voting is an option for anybody and everybody, regardless of reason. So that may not necessarily be so much a concern. Plus, with the 9 days in advance voting as well. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But
Right.
I think this is something that we should move forward with. It seems reasonable. And it's a great cost savings and time saving for
Yes.
our clerk's office, which already has so much on their plate, but performs admirably in light of the load.
Thank you.
All right, unless there's anything else. Do you have any follow-up, Vice Mayor Chairman?
No, you kind of touched on it. I thought about the transportation too, which may be a major concern, but I think we'll work through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood. Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, now for discussion only at this time, special event policy recommendations. Welcome.
Evening.
Good evening. And so, what is your role now at DPW? You are
My official title is Administrative Supervisor.
administrative supervisor. All right, welcome, Supervisor Ernie.
Thank you. As you see before you, we have a few proposed policy changes for the special event policy. We had about 130 special events this past season, which is really great post-COVID. We were at 150 the year before, but a lot of those were election related, so it makes sense that it went down just a little bit this year. Would you like me to go through each of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that. Let's do that. So everyone is on the same page as we discuss and move it forward.
So the first change would be to the amount of time that's required to submit the application. A lot of events require conditional approval, so conditions that they need to meet as the event before they can host their event, and a lot of those conditions need to be met at least 2 weeks in advance. So the current 30-day prior only leaves staff 2 weeks to evaluate the application, and that involves the manager's department. Every department has to approve the event, and so that's a lot to ask of staff to thoroughly review and accurately review everything for that event within 2 weeks to then get that conditional approval to the event so they can meet their conditions before the event. So we're asking that to be extended to 45 days. And then to make the application fee process just a little bit more clean. It doesn't matter what season the event is in, those conditions still apply. So even if you're hosting an event in December, you still might need to meet some conditions 2 weeks prior. So just making that application fee process a little bit more streamlined as well. The food truck and vendor changes that came from our fire marshal. He is very thorough at his job and wonderful, and so he recommended just a few additions that he already looks for, so just to make that very clear to the events ahead of time. For road closures right now, we only require the event to notify the residents and businesses on the street that's being closed, and we're asking to extend that to 1 block surrounding the event footprint, because obviously those residents and businesses are also impacted by this road closure. So that way, everyone that is within a block of the event is notified and directly from the event. We purchased cardboard trash bins that we can deliver for free to the event is what we're offering, as opposed to the large metal trash cans. And that way, after the event, they could just be disposed of. This would reduce staff time delivering and picking up trash cans throughout this season. And then we are proposing to eliminate the offer of picnic tables. We would have picnic tables available for events to pick up for free, as the county does right now. We would keep a stockpile of them that events could come get, but staff would no longer be the ones physically delivering them to and from events. We are asking to add additional labor costs for the public works. Right now, they don't have a separate labor hours for Sundays and holidays, and a lot of events, more and more events are falling on those days. So it's just to cover the city's costs for employing those staff members on, let's say, like the Labor Day parade, when they need to come in on the holiday.
Is that?
We're proposing to eliminate the Hackley Park use fee for the hourly rate with the liquor license. It's not utilized, it wasn't practical, so just cleaning up that part of the policy. Eliminating the fee to use bicycle and walking paths. We want to encourage the use of that form. Instead of closing a road, like go use the large, beautiful Lakeshore Trail for your event or a sidewalk. The largest proposed change is for the Pure Marquette user fees. Right now, they are based on the estimated number of attendees, and it's only applicable for when paid parking is in effect, and it's only for the event as a whole instead of per day. So we're proposing to change that to a zone-based fee, so what area you're using versus the number of attendees. Is that you could have 200 attendees or 1,000 attendees, you still have the same footprint. So we're proposing that change to have the fee applied throughout the whole season. There's still an impact on residents and staff to utilize the beach, so any time of year, and then to make the fees daily instead of for the event as a whole. So a one-day event and the week-long event aren't charged the same fee. So those events, and then the parking, right now we only identified exclusive use of the Ovals parking lot. We're opening it up to the other smaller parking lots to encourage utilizing those smaller parking lots as well, so identifying a fee for those. All those fees are broken down here. Happy to go through them individually or answer specific questions.
Thank you for those updates and recommendations. Commissioners, any questions or remarks? Vice Mayor German.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the report. I noticed you pointed out the picnic tables would no longer be delivered. And I'm aware that some events in my ward, particularly our church, depend on picnic tables for their yearly event. Is there a reason why they're not delivering picnic tables anymore?
Sure.
The shortage of staff?
Shortage of staff is a very large one. The number of hours that it does take to deliver the picnic tables for equipment use and for staff time has gone up significantly, and the ability to hire quality seasonal staff and have truck and trailer available for the number of hours it takes to deliver them. We would rather put those resources into improving the parks, because we're utilizing this large parks master plan, and it's going to take staff time to implement these improvements in the parks as well.
Okay, thank you. Also, is there a limitation on the picnic tables, how many they could get, or it depends on the size of the event, I'm quite sure as well. I mean, but is there a limitation on how many picnic tables?
Not currently, no.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Well, however many we have, so
Yes.
approximately 80.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor German. Any other questions or comments at this time? commissioners? So, with regard to those picnic tables, they'll be available for people to pick up and return for free, but no delivery. So I know, aside from the event that Vice Mayor Sherman was referencing, several of our neighborhood associations depend upon those picnic tables deliveries and use of for their events, and we encourage those events as part of the grant process as well. So I'm just wondering if perhaps we have a caveat that allows a neighborhood association to still be able to take advantage of this, even if it's just one event a year. I think right now we give 2 free events for our neighborhood associations. So I mean, whether we want to go 2 in which they can access those, or at least 1, but I think that's something for us to discuss. Commissioner Hood.
I kind of agree with you because to transport the picnic tables would be kind of difficult for a lot of organizations to go get, because I believe you would probably need a trailer to do that. They just can't pick them up in a truck or so. And when we're saying the neighborhood associations, would that include some of the, as Vice Mayor German had noted, some of the church organizations that do have the annual whatever they have and use of the picnic tables? Just, I mean, if we were discussing that, would that include?
I mean, that would be for the commissioner to decide. When I'm speaking of the neighborhood associations, I'm thinking just the neighborhood association. Now, a neighborhood association could do something in partnership with the church, and they have a joint event that could qualify. But in my mind, I was just thinking of neighborhood associations alone, because then it could get too unwieldy beyond that. This organization, that organization, this group, that group, wanting it. So in my mind, it was just neighborhood associations, but it could be in concert or partnership with another organization. Yeah, Vice Mayor German.
Oh yeah, I kind of like that idea, and I guess we can also look at the number of years that these organizations have put on these events, like the churches that I was referring to. They do it for the community as well as the neighborhood associations do those. So I would like to see something, if we could actually make some type of option to make it available for maybe, like the mayor said 1 or 2 events possibly, and usually the big events that's really impacting the community. That would be my thought.
The church events don't fall underneath the special event policy because it's not on city property.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Manager, you had something to add?
Yeah, as far as the delivery of picnic tables, I think if I would ask that staff be able to have that discussion a little bit offline on what the impact there would be, because if we start making exceptions for specific groups, it becomes really difficult for us to say this group gets something and this group doesn't, whether it's a church or a community organization or an event. Neighborhood associations might be a little bit different because there's more a closer relationship, I guess, with the city.
Yeah,
But the general rule of thumb for municipalities, what you do for one, you do for all. And we do have a challenge with these deliveries. This is one of the largest time consumption activities of our seasonal staff, and so we're just trying to find a way to kind of lessen that, but still make this option available. The other side of this that we're not really discussing right now is that the tables are getting older, and we don't really have an interest in replacing them because of the cost there, and we think that we could use those in other places, and making sure that we have proper picnic tables and proper repair at the parks themselves, as opposed to moving around picnic tables to other areas. So
and I think that could work well with neighborhoods that have those parks with that equipment that's being invested in. But there are some neighborhoods that don't necessarily have the space to put their events on and have the infrastructure already there. But Commissioner Hood.
I kind of get that I do get it, actually, as I think about it, because especially when you hit on the point that some of the picnic tables are getting old. And I know for a fact there was an incident where picnic tables were delivered and they weren't new enough because they were kind of old, and so it was going back and forth. Well, why did we get these tables when so and so got some new tables or whatnot? Well, we're letting you use these tables for free, so we just didn't have enough new ones to go around. But that's kind of hard, difficult to explain. Not really difficult to explain, but difficult for people to understand. So, yeah, if you do something for one, you got to do it for all. And if we're just saying neighborhood associations, then I don't have a problem with that either.
All right, so I think that's something that staff needs to discuss and deliberate more internally. I am interested in exploring something for our neighborhood associations alone, or at the very least, a neighborhood association does not have a facility like, McGrath Park or, a Smith Ryerson with a pavilion and a community center. Like, there are neighborhoods that don't have that infrastructure available to them to put on an event. Another thing that perhaps we can consider is, I like that we're making the tables available for free, the ones that we do have. Perhaps there's a way also to say, if you provide the labor and you show up, we'll at least drive them there. Because that could be an impediment, is just the vehicle and the trailer to bring it to your event. But say, if you're going to pull together the volunteers from your neighborhood or your community or your event, like, that could be the way. You do the manpower, or person power, and we'll assist with the transportation at least. So just something else to consider as we move forward with revising this policy. Can you help me understand about the removing the fee for using bike and walking paths and trying to direct people to use the bike path or encouraging it versus using a street? Can you help me understand the thought behind that, and if there's any particular events that you're thinking of there?
Yeah, no particular event. It was, the part of the discussion was, it's a $200 fee regardless of the size of the event, the length of the event. You could be on the bike path for 0.3 of a mile or 30 miles, and it's the same fee. So there's discussion of, do we need to have different levels to this fee, or potentially just remove it all? There's really no cost for maintaining the bike path based on the use of it. If it's used for Seaway Run versus a bike race, there's really not a large wear and tear on it. It usually doesn't impact too many residents. They're still able to utilize the bike path even when these events occur on it. And so we decided to propose removing it.
Okay. Gotcha. And if it ends up being problematic for one reason or another, we can always come back to amending and evolving this policy further. I like the idea of the... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. More and more people are also trying to do like fun run 5Ks for fundraisers, and that will also help encourage them to utilize the bike path for those and be able to raise money for their various charities.
Okay. I like the idea of the area zones, the fees at Pure Marquette. That's a good adaptation of policy. Instead of just size of event, but like location of event. Very good. One other thing that just like to broach with the commission, it's not in here right now, but the possibility, at least at Pure Marquette, because there are several changes here pertaining to Pure Marquette, because we understand how important and sensitive and well utilized and enjoyed Pure Marquette is, and that area is, that I was wondering, perhaps as a requirement going forward, first-time events needing to come to the commission prior to approval. So a decade ago, all events came to the commission, and we changed that policy because we don't need every single event to come to the commission to be approved. And so the policy was changed to just hand that and let staff do that administratively. But what I'm wondering is, at least insofar as Pure Marquette is concerned, first-time events coming to the commission first. And so we have to understand what's happening there. And then if it works out well, and you guys regroup with them and mitigate any things that do pop up, then it can just continue staff administered thereafter. So thoughts, Commissioner St. Clair?
How many first-time events would you say you have a year?
It vastly varies.
Okay, so it could be a lot.
It could be 30. But I would say that that's probably close to an average number if you were to average it out. Based on a quick guess.
Events at Pure Marquette.
30 new events, period. That's how I understood
Oh,
it, right? Not
right.
at Pure Marquette, just in general.
Are you
I'm talking about Pure Marquette.
only interested in Pure Marquette?
In Pure Marquette only, I've had 2 approach me in the last few months, so I know of at least 2 that would be interested. But there, in general, at Pure Marquette, I think there's 8, 9, currently 9 events.
One of my concerns insofar as Pure Marquette is the things that we've heard with regard to Heritage Landing, that it ends up being used for event after event, and people are not able to access it and enjoy it. And I am concerned about that becoming the case with Pure Marquette, and we do not want I do not want Pure Marquette to be overrun with events all the time, and displacing our residents and guests to our community to be able to enjoy it. So that's just something to have in mind. Plus, that's one thing that I have in mind there.
What about Heritage Landing? Wait, what?
A lot of people have concerns about Heritage Landing in terms of how not being able to utilize the park at Heritage Landing.
Oh, that is not the concerns I frequently hear. So we should talk.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't heard that. I hear that all the time. It's like, we can't even use our own park.
Yeah.
Because it's event after event after event. Now, Heritage Park was designed for festivals, so that's a little bit different, in my opinion. And you can work around making sure that the playground and other areas are still accessible at Heritage Landing, but that had not necessarily been the consistent case in the past, and so that's one of the concerns I've heard. So, but I saw Commissioner Hood and Commissioner Emery, you're nodding your heads. Is there anything that you want to ask or add on this item?
Oh, no. I just thought that for the new events coming to Marquette, Pure Marquette, to come in front of the commission would be a good idea. Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. Yes.
Okay. Lee? I saw Commissioner Gorman nod your head, but I wasn't sure if that
Yes,
was
I'm fine with that. I have
not.
some other questions.
Oh, you got a question? Or
I'm really happy about the adding notice to one block surrounding the event footprint for street closure. My question was, do we provide the events those address lists to provide written notice?
When asked.
When asked, okay. And then I didn't know if this is the time. Can you talk about events, I guess, particularly where there's large crowds, how event organizers may need to interact with our public safety as far as a police presence for crowd control, and are they charged that, and is that something, since we're looking at this, that needs to be established as well, so there's clear communication on that?
It varies. So police does have to sign off on the event, so they are aware of every event, and they will dictate if they need to have a special meeting with that event, either separately or with staff as a whole. It depends on the size of the event. If it is quite large, usually we automatically have a meeting with staff in different departments already. For the charging of it, I would say that varies if they're charged or not. A lot of times police, based on the size of the event, will come visit the event just to check in on it, but they're not charged for that. But if police is requested, or if police feels that they need to staff the event, then the event is charged.
Okay.
Based on the rates in the policy.
Would it help your team to have that more written out in this process, as far as if you're requesting it, here's what those costs could look like, or has it been a non-issue so far?
Most of the events that have the police staffing requirement, it's already habitual, and so they already know a rough estimate. I do try to provide estimates ahead of time to events, especially when asked, but just preemptively I'll do it. And for new events, I do go through and provide them a fee estimate based on what I hear from staff.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you, Commissioner Berman. And Mr. Manager?
On that topic, I should note that it's our general practice when it comes to public safety that if an event requires extra public safety staff, that we generally stop charging the event at the hour in which the event ends.
Okay.
So if the event ends at 11, Rebel Road, for example, our police presence remains until 3, 2? Okay. So our police presence remains well after the event. We don't charge for that time after the event period ends.
Okay.
And we communicate that with the event.
Okay.
So that is absorbed by us, but the other overtime costs or just staffing costs are passed on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? All right, thank you. Thank you. Some great work on looking at how do we continue to tweak and advance and amend this policy to better serve our community and our staff who is tasked with administering it.
Finding that balance is tricky, but it's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, commissioners. Do you have any other business before we go to public comment? Vice Mayor German.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to bring this item to the commission. I talked with Director Francis about this, and it has to do with the social equity program through the state of Michigan. We had discussion on this item before where we talked about and discussed the application process here for the city of Muskegon to reflect the Michigan's application. And after speaking with Director Franzik, he suggested I bring it back in front of the commission. He said we did need a vote, but just to get some consensus and go ahead and move forward, he wouldn't have any problem changing the language in the application. So, and that's why I'm bringing this in front of the commission tonight.
Okay.
And I have a copy of the Michigan's.
So, let me see. Applications, I think, are due April 30th. Can anyone confirm that? I believe that's our you used to administer this back in the day. Our marijuana officer, Muskegon marijuana officer. Is the application deadline April 30th?
I believe so.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of timeline because if it's too late to get it on our legislative policy committee meeting this week, which is tomorrow, it's already been published as an agenda. Do you have some insights, Director Ekholm?
Are we talking about removal of felonies as a barrier to?
There you go. Yeah,
Sorry, I
thank
stepped
you,
out
Director.
and
Yeah. Thank you,
Planning Director Franzek couldn't be here this evening, but he wanted me to give staff feedback on this item, and we are supportive of removing that from the existing policy. So I just wanted to make sure that, from a staff perspective, we agree with that and recommend moving forward with that removal. So if you want us to get it on an LPC meeting or however the commission would like to move forward with our recommendation there, we're more than happy to do so. But he asked me to convey that this evening.
So what was the one, sorry, I was looking at a note. What was the one change that?
I believe right now there's something in the policy that precludes those convicted of a felony to apply for the social equity programming through the city's funding.
Okay.
And we'd like to potentially remove that, at least for certain felonies.
Yeah,
But
okay.
open-minded to any recommendations and guidance from the commission as it pertains to
Got
that policy.
So with regard to that particular change, commissioners, do you have any questions, concerns, or objections to staff moving that forward? Commissioner Hood.
I think I would like to take a dive into what felonies are we talking about? All felonies.
So I think we didn't get into detail on that. I think that's been discussed in conversation when this item comes before the commission at times. We've never been given any motion-driven guidance as to what to do in that direction. I think we're open-minded. Obviously, I think the most relevant would be drug-related felonies, specifically marijuana-related felonies. So if we wanted to receive some guidance that was that specific and explicit, or if you want us to just come with some recommendations and take a look at some options, we'd be happy to do that too. But we just wanted to convey that staff is supportive of making that change.
Okay. Commissioner Hood.
So when you say marijuana, making a change saying that if they were marijuana you got it. For marijuana,
Picking up
that,
what you're laying down.
you would remove. You have no problem removing that one.
Yeah. So I think
I
that's.
don't have a problem removing that one either.
Yeah, and I think quite frankly we are operating at the pleasure of the commission. So if it's if you want to create a carve out for specifically marijuana related convicted felonies to still be eligible for the social equity program, I think that's easy enough to codify that. If it's something more general where we just want to remove that language altogether, we're open minded. We just wanted to convey that from a staffing perspective. We don't see any real issue with doing that.
Okay. So may I suggest then, assuming there's bandwidth on the December work session, and if it's overwhelmed, then we can reconsider. But perhaps staff can bring what they would like to recommend for that work session. Put it on the general session as well for that Tuesday. And then at the work session, if we want to tweak it, or if there's just objections to like this needs to be tabled for even more in-depth exploration, we can do that. Does that sound like an acceptable way forward?
Yes, Mayor, I think as long as it's a discussion item, because obviously our agenda items would be due this coming Monday at noon, and so I don't think we're prepared to, make specific policy recommendations unless that was what was asked for, in which case I'd recommend the January work session. But if it's strictly a discussion item to understand, how it's existed today, what feedback we've gotten on that policy without necessarily taking action, or unless the commission decides to, I think we could be ready for a discussion on the December work session. Yeah.
Okay.
I would personally recommend the January work session just by looking at the load.
Okay.
For what we're anticipating for those sessions, and to give staff a little bit more time to get it ready.
Then I defer to the manager.
Yeah.
So,
that
I'm looking at the list right now, so.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't have any objections to January. The only concern is we're
gonna have some changes.
Some changes. We want to have Commissioner Emmer, Commissioner Hood, and it sounds like this is something that is of interest to Commissioner Hood. But we will welcome your presence here, whether at the dais or in the audience, and your input as well on this matter.
Sure, but it's all good.
Thank you, Commissioner Hood. Are you satisfied,
Yes,
with this?
I just wanted to bring this
January?
to the attention, to the commission, and that Director Francis and see Director Echo, he's there, supportive of it, and it'll be a good discussion.
Okay. Yep. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Yeah, thank you.
So I just want to remark and reflect on the tree lighting that happened the past Saturday, and the decor and the lighting throughout Hackley Park and along Western Avenue, and just how awesome of a job our team at City Hall and DPW did, as well as our partners at the Lakeshore Legacy Project on Western Avenue. It just was phenomenal. And so, Jackie, might you be able to, from DPW, speak to the various different individuals who've been involved with this? I know at our last meeting during the service award announcements, I mentioned a couple who were remarking or celebrating their 5 years here with Tim Duba and Jeremy Hugel, and they're a very important part of that. But we have so many other people involved with the decorations and help bring that delight to our community. So I want to recognize them as well.
Certainly, yeah. Tim Duba and Jeremy Hugel do a lot of the planning and decorating in the park, and Dave Bailey wraps all the trees, which is my personal favorite. And they have other team members that help them and support them in the decorating it. And Kyle Karchevsky and Holly Fredrickson and Tiara Clark all put on that event with our community partners, like the Lakeshore Public Library.
Fantastic. Thank you. And cheers to them. Kudos. Excellent work. It really was an awesome event and just beautifully done throughout the park and along Western Avenue. And now we no longer have the strobe lights either on Western Avenue. That was a little intense. They're static now. It's not a rave on Western Avenue any longer. So before we go into public comment, any other items, commissioners?
No, sorry, I was saying bye to Jackie.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to public comment. So we do have one form for public comment. There's still time to complete a form for public comment. They are at the back of the room. And then we'll be going to the phones. So get ready to dial 231-724-6721 when it is time for public comment by phone. But first up, we've got Sylvia Davis joining us from the Angel neighborhood. Welcome, welcome. You have up to 3 minutes to provide your remarks.
I don't, my comment is, with you being able to use a debit or a credit card, even to buy a hot dog at what do you call those little things, the food trucks, why are we being still charged to use a debit or a credit card to pay our taxes? We're being charged fees for that, and to pay our water bills and other things around the city, just within City Hall and other places. We, even if it's on the phone, in person, or online, I don't understand. Charged fees for that. Even if you don't bring in your water bill, we're being charged a fee for them to just type in your address. to look up your water bill. And so I understand the fees for that. And I'd like to know, when is that gonna stop? And why hasn't it stopped?
This isn't a Q&A time right now.
Oh, it's not?
No,
Okay.
this is just
Well,
kind of
that's
a
what I
time for us
wanna
to
know.
hear from you.
Yeah.
We can take your questions into consideration. We can also talk to you after the meeting to address your questions individually. We also have a LPC meeting tomorrow night that's going to be talking about water fees.
Who?
So that a legislative policy committee meeting tomorrow night. In which case, one of the items is water fees, and so perhaps it's an opportunity for the commission to discuss the water billing as well.
Taxes.
Yeah, I'll talk to you more after the meeting with regard to the fees. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wishing to give public comment at this time? All right, we're gonna go to the phones. 231-724-6721.
Mayor, we have somebody on the line.
All right.
Ready?
Welcome to the City Commission General Session meeting. You have 3 minutes to provide your remarks. Please introduce yourself by name and what neighborhood you reside in if you're a City of Muskegon resident. If you're not a City of Muskegon resident, which city, township, or village you might be residing in.
Just a second. Ma'am, can you hold on? Ma'am, can you hold on a moment?
We're having technical difficulties. We can't hear your comment just yet.
Ma'am? Just coming through the computer. It was about the strobe lighting coming through it was the strobe lighting downtown. I can hear that.
Not a thing anymore.
She's gonna call back, but yeah, in the meantime. Okay. You got it.
Yeah, but that is set to.
All set? Okay. Sorry about that. I did hear about the strobe lighting downtown. So she's gonna call back.
She was commenting on that. Okay. Did we catch her name?
I did not.
Okay. So if you'd like to, the technical difficulties have been resolved. So if you wish to call back to give your comment, please do. Or if there's anyone else wishing to give public comment at this time, you may call in 231-724-6721.
Trying again.
All right. Hello.
No, hold on.
Still not.
No, I can hear.
I thought we had our technical difficulties resolved, but
Hold on.
can we go old school and put her on next to the microphone? Or do you got this fixed now?
No. Just a second. Settle it up.
That works.
Are you there, ma'am?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Fantastic. So to recap my previous comment, this is Leah, 284 West Grand, and I just wanted to thank you for turning off the strobes on the lighting downtown. That does really affect those of us who suffer from migraine. But also, I'm hoping that we can explicitly include in our public event policy that we do not allow any releases of balloons or paper lanterns or other objects that become litter within the watershed. So that's my specific request. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Markowski.
Thank you.
All right. We have anyone else trying to call in with public comment?
We do not.
All right, commissioners, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor German, supported by Commissioner Emery to adjourn. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you. Take care and be well.
Good night, everyone.